And now, Fairfax Breakfast Club with your host, Basil Lemba.
Hello, my name is Basil Lemba and welcome to the Fairfax Breakfast Club. This is a program in which we bring you practical networking concepts and other valuable information you can use to truly expand your business. We always start with a quote, and today's quote is in alignment with the following networking basics: networking versus selling. And it is from an author named Robert Kiyosaki, and it goes like this: the richest people in the world look for and build networks. Everyone else looks for work. We are fortunate today we have a very special guest, and I'm going to let her introduce herself in a minute. And her name is Peggy Kimmey. She's the Kimmey Training Consulting. So Peggy, welcome to our show.
Thank you, Basil. I appreciate this opportunity so much. This is so exciting. So yes, my name is Peggy Kimmey with Kimmey Training and Consulting, and I'm a presentation coach.
Good, excellent. Well, everybody can use some of that.
I like to think so. If they want to be talking to people and want to be more effective communicators, it's important to practice.
I don't even think if you're alive, you have to learn how to present and talk. And there's a funny saying that goes that at a funeral, most persons rather be laying down in the coffin than being the one doing the urology. Because they are so afraid to talk.
I'm afraid that's true. People say they're more afraid of speaking in public than they are of dying, yes.
Okay, great. So now the first question I'll have for you is, what would be your biggest success, Peggy?
Can I have two?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely, yeah.
The first biggest success is very aligned with why I decided to continue on and make Kimmey Training and Consulting a presentation business, a coaching opportunity to connect with people and to help them. Because I found through teaching classes for public speaking that there was not just a fear, but it's a physical reaction for some people. And when I completed a session and I had one young lady who was physically ill before every speaking and she couldn't eat. And when she finished her last presentation, even more excited than finishing the speech, she told the whole class afterwards, she said, "And I had dinner with my family this evening." And I realized it was such a big deal. It was really, this is so important. So bringing what I do to the table, helping people become more comfortable and more effective and more clear and being able to speak their truth, their authentic voice, that is my biggest success. But my other one is a very recent success, and I'm very excited because with all the technology, just like being on TV and everything, I finally upgraded to a smartphone. And I needed to do this because I've got an app. Because people need help, and I'm not always right there with them to say, sit up straight or take a deep breath or calm down. But I've got an application for the smartphones, and every day they get a tip, one small step they can take. It's called Eek Out from my tagline. I take the eek out of public speaking. So those are two things that I'm very proud of.
Very good, excellent. All right, and what would you consider your biggest challenge?
My biggest challenge is probably getting people to take the chance, not even on themselves, but when they hear that I'm a coach. They think I'm going to get them into a contract and it's going to be months and months and months, and they think they're going to hate it. And I can make a big difference just in 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours with someone, helping them feel more comfortable. I've never had anyone say it was terrible. They're always surprised at how much fun we had, even though they had to get up and practice some kind of presentation. So that's my biggest challenge, is getting people to invest in themselves and take a chance, just a little investment, and there's a big difference that we can make.
Would it mean that maybe a good idea would be to promote yourself as improving yourself on very rapidly, right? That, I mean, it's something, make it clear to them it doesn't have to take years and years and years or a long contract to do that.
Maybe I should emphasize that
Yes.
more when I'm presenting myself.
Yeah,
Thank you.
coaching that does not take forever.
Yeah, yes, that's right.
Yes, definitely. And as I said, it is an important subject, and it's paralyzing as it is for people to present. Tell us a little bit how you help somebody. I'm curious. I mean, not giving the whole technology and everything else.
Sure, sure. I will say that each person is different.
Mm-hmm.
One of the first keys for me is just to get them speaking in front of me,
Mm-hmm.
to find their style.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't want to take them and say you have to do this or this or this,
Mm-hmm.
because every person is different. And it's important for me first to validate who they are and what skills they already are bringing to the table. Some folks are going to have great eye contact. Some folks are going to have a beautiful voice to listen to. So I'm going to listen to them and encourage them and say, this is what you already do well. And from there, make suggestions. This was awkward, or this was hard to understand. And then we'll go through the process. So it's never the same for
Gotcha.
every person.
Got it.
But I really feel that it's important not to try to make them be somebody else.
Sure.
I want to help people bring out their authentic voice, find their speaking style, so that they can take the tips that I give them and not just do whatever they were practicing with me, but they can take it and they can apply the same concepts to the next presentation, next speech, next networking event, whatever they're doing. It's going to be something that they can incorporate because it's their style and it's familiar and easy.
Very good. Now, years, some month back, you mentioned a very example which I would like for you to talk about. I think that will give people true reality on what you're talking about. And that is Fran with the nanny.
And her voice.
Yes. Can you talk about it, please?
Certainly, certainly. The Fran Drescher, the nanny, she talks with the nasal and a New York accent, and it's almost to the point of grating. You either love her or you can't stand her, and you've got to get out of the room. That's part of her style. That's part of what makes her funny, that nasally laugh that she's got. And she knew that it was something very distinctive, very much her own, and that some people found it abrasive. So she spent a great deal of time and money working with a vocal coach to get rid of her nasal, to bring it out and make herself resonate and smooth, and probably even worked on getting rid of the accent, just make it more bland, more vanilla, less Fran. And then the next time she went in to interview, they were expecting the nanny, and they didn't get it. They got this very polished, very smooth, very lovely to listen to, and they said, no, 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 we don't want you. You go get your accent back. You go get your Fran attitude back. That's who we want. And that's what makes people so real. They've got to be their true selves, and that's what people want to see. That's the businesses we want to work with. Those are the people that we want to have for our friends. Those are the people that we want to listen to. Are people that are being truly themselves.
Well, very interesting.
Thank you.
So what advice would you, I mean, most people, some maybe are aware of the fact that they could improve their presentation skills. Some may or may not be. So what advice would you give to somebody then?
Certainly for someone who knows that they're nervous and they want just a little something to get over the hump, I would suggest they go to my website, www.kimmeyconsulting.com. They're going to see a link there with my 7 steps to take the eek out of public speaking. So that's about breathing and smiling and a few other just very simple steps. My favorite from that, one of the steps is, I call it the gift. And that, I think, is important whether you're an experienced presenter or someone who's just trying to get over their initial speech. The gift is this speech, this presentation, this 30-second elevator pitch, whatever it is that you're about to communicate, it is a gift. When you say, I'm giving you something, I'm giving a speech, the first thing is I'm the most important piece. If it didn't happen from me, the speech wouldn't happen. I am giving Not I'm making, I'm creating, I'm presenting. I'm giving, I'm sharing. This is something that's coming from you. And you've invested time, you've invested effort, you've invested nervousness, you've invested the research, you've thought about the right words, you've put so much into this. You hopefully have practiced. All of that, honor that. It is a gift. And I am giving a speech, a presentation. It's something that you're giving to someone. Whether it's one person receiving or 500 receiving, they are receiving a gift from you, something special that you've put time and effort into. Honor yourself for the time that you've put into creating that and crafting that. Honor what you have created, because each time you give it, even if you're familiar, it's a little different every time. It's special. It's going to be something created because of the energy between you and your audience, whether it's one person or a cathedral full. So the uniqueness and the specialness each time you speak, each time you present. And that's something of value. Honor it, and honor yourself, and honor the person that you're presenting to.
Okay.
That would be my advice. Okay. Value it.
Yes, definitely, unquestionably, very much valuable. Now, my next question to you is, how did you get into this business?
I'm going to tell you it took a long trail, and I didn't realize I was on this path for a long time. I certainly didn't, as a toddler, run around the house and say, I'm going to be a presentation coach. But I can tell you that I have been in front of groups of people, in choruses, in plays, the speaking at our church for our youth group, trying to get people to come to our youth group meeting, other kids, and calling on the phone. And as that grew into adult things, even when my official job title didn't include something interacting with people, I actually have training as a database developer. And most people would look at me and scratch their heads. And it doesn't quite fit. And I really did enjoy that.
I guess it doesn't grab the personality. The database much more somebody close by not talking to anybody. I imagine I'm not.
That's true. And what we found was, though I had skills that fit that creativity behind a computer, oftentimes the sales guys, they needed technical support. They needed people that could do the geek speak. So they would bring me along to talk techie with the customers, and I loved it. I loved explaining what this system was supposed to do for them and how it was supposed to help in answering their questions. And then later on, when they would purchase our package, we'd tweak it, we'd do some things for them. I got to go train the end users who would be implementing the system. I loved that piece of it, interacting with people. And that became, as paths changed, as moves happen, you get new jobs. It became a career that was all-day training, standing on my feet and talking, helping people get over their nervousness with computers. I really enjoyed taking people who were, working with regular phones and pieces of paper, and all of a sudden their company had gone computers. And they were scared to death that they were going to click the wrong key and it was going to blow up this thing. So I had to get them comfortable and understand how it worked and give them a safe place to practice where they could bang on the keys and not hurt anything. I'd say, see, it didn't blow up. You still got your job. Isn't that a good thing? Get them over their nervousness with the computer and understand how to do what they needed in their daily lives. When we moved back to the area, I wanted to keep those skills live. Just like a bicycle, you may be able to jump back on if you haven't ridden in years, but you're going to be a little wobbly. I didn't want to lose my communication skills. I still wanted to be effective and sharp. I joined a Toastmasters club.
Oh, wow.
And that was a great experience. I'm still an active Toastmaster, and I encourage everyone for their ongoing skill to keep that polished. They may need me to get over the hump, but to keep that polish and that shine. They don't need to hire me every month. They need to join a Toastmasters club. Through Toastmasters, I found that even more fun than helping someone with their computer was helping someone get over their fear of public speaking.
Interesting.
And I realized that Toastmasters is typically a long process. They join, they participate, they work on speeches. It takes them maybe a year and a half to get through their 10 speeches. sometimes they can't wait that long. That's my niche. I'm there to help focus, take all of that and kind of compress the time to get them somewhere. But then Toastmasters is the next step. So it's, yeah, I didn't have a chance to warn you. That was going to be a long story.
No, I'm not, no, that's not the issue at all. It's just I didn't see that coming.
Oh, surprise.
Not, I wasn't expecting, it was quite an interesting one. You went from computer to that to Toastmaster and what have you.
I did.
Oh, it's very, very interesting. Is there any reading that you recommend to somebody, any materials that you recommend to somebody?
I do have a few books already on my blog, on my website.
Good, okay.
But the one that comes immediately to mind that two, that I like to recommend, one is Stand Like Lincoln, Speak Like Churchill. And I believe the author's last name is Humes. And it's a very quick read, short chapters, and he's pulling out different things that those two great orators with such very different skills, but how they did what they did and what we can learn from them. That's a great book. Another one is Brag, How to Toot Your Own Horn. Because people are so scared of doing well or saying, I can do this well. I can be a great speaker. I can be a great trainer. I'm a great networker. We've been taught not to pat ourselves on the back. Yeah. And this book gives us permission. And it gives us the words that are acceptable in our society. How I can set myself up and say I do this well without looking prideful or boastful. So how to brag.
Well, it makes sense because if people are to have self-confidence, which we want them to,
yes,
they have to be truthful to themselves.
Absolutely.
One of my favorite, this might not necessarily be on track we were talking about, but I think it's a line. I happen to have my training, to the opposite, was in architecture.
Oh.
Yes, and one of my favorite architects, or my favorite architect is Frank Lloyd Wright.
Oh, yes.
Architecture. I'm sure you heard about it. And in his book, the biography, and he said there was two kind of educational positioning he has to take when he was a child. Either I go around and say, oh, no, I'm not good enough, and to be quote-unquote modest, or I stand up and say, I'm the best.
Yes.
Because knowing Frank, he went the other way. He tells you, nobody else, I'm the only one around here, I'm the best.
That's right.
But I do believe that it is healthy. Not the point of not bragging, that's not the issue, is that it brings you, it put a challenge on you. It put the pressure on you to deliver a high quality product.
Yes, that's true.
So that's I like that about it, is that, and then the end product is, once you're done, you have done the very best you could, really. Because it ties and goes into something as that we talked about, we talked in the past about, which is competition. The biggest, the hardest competition is with yourself, not somebody else. You're not trying to compete with somebody. They are different, they have, that's themselves. That's right. It is with you. I can't imagine Michael Jordan competing with somebody. You get what I'm saying? There's no competition there. He competes with himself. All along, how better can I do? He doesn't worry about what Joe, Bill, or whatever. And again, it ties in with that. Like say, okay, if you say I'm the best, that means the guy is competing to, it's not so much that I'm the best as opposed to anybody else. It's that I do my very best to do the best job that could possibly be done.
That's right.
So that's how personally I read it, that angle. And then the people have to have self-confidence, then they have to be able to come and then speak their mind. And I think it will be much more of a straight, realistic dialogue between people, as long as they don't consider themselves being superior to the other guy.
Exactly.
That they just think, this is what I think, and the other guy will put, okay, do you think, do my thing, and then let's compare notes. And I think it'll bring the best out of people.
I agree.
So that's how I say it. So
good.
now, yeah, excellent. So now tell us then, who is your best speaker? You are into that field. Who are the speakers that you look to? What are the speakers that you admire? What are the quote-unquote your lack of a better word, maybe the role model when it comes to that?
First person that comes to mind is Anthony Robbins.
Okay.
Speaker, trainer, someone who empowers others, someone who is so truly himself, very authentic, very unique. I'd say there are so many, but yes.
I guess you're looking at it, if I may interpret what you're saying, if I may, it's not so much about just the speaking, of you speaking well, having the skills of speaking, but the ability or the willingness to help other people. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, yeah, that's definitely a piece of it. Probably what resonates with me is that he's not just standing up there talking at his audience. He's encouraging, he's sharing information, he's teaching, and he's eliciting. He's feeling feedback, he's getting us to do something, he's motivating. And that's a large piece of what I do, is connect with people and motivate and encourage them to be their best and to bring out what they have inside that they didn't even know they had. So, yeah, the motivation, the inspiration.
It makes sense, really, because I think if I had to choose between a speaker and somebody who can help, there's someone who can help.
Yes.
So it's not just about the glowing speech, whatever. We can have a speech or you can even, it's not so much about how skilled or good is your presentation. It's the way I see it is much more about what you can do for other people.
What's the point of making a speech if you're not going to cause change? Is it just to hear your own self speak? And if you're going to cause change, you've got to get other people involved. You've got to get them motivated to do something. For you, for themselves, for the nation. So yeah, I didn't pick a politician. Because oftentimes my impression is that they like to hear themselves speak.
Well, it is a valid point, because politics is a subject, and the definition of politics happen to be how to get in the office. Once you get in the office, how to stay in the office.
Yes.
You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
So by definition, the speech is how do I get into the office? That's the goal of the speech.
That's
Once
right.
the speech becomes how do I stay in the office? So it's not that we're saying less of any politician, what have you. I'm just saying that is the game they are playing. A politician does not come out there to go back and say, I gave my best speech, I lost the election.
Right.
That's not what it is. How do I get in? Once they get in, how do I stay in? So therefore...
And that's still motivating people, getting them to do something.
Yes, definitely, but
Yes.
it's not necessarily due to the goal of it. The goal is not how do I get you Peggy better, necessarily. Is how do I get into the office? Let's not confuse the two things.
That's right. Unfortunately.
Well, that's the game they're playing. They're not bad people, but they got to know which game you're playing.
That's right.
I'm playing the game of getting in the office. When I'm in the office, I'm playing the game of staying in the office. So therefore, their speech are like, that's just a senior goal they are going after.
That's right.
So that's why their speech is, they're not bad people, but they are playing, it's like somebody's playing basketball. That's basketball. You got to know that. Don't ask him to play volleyball. He's playing basketball.
That's right. And that's what he's good at.
That's what he's good at. So you just have to understand that that's what is different, I guess, from Tony, for example, because he's not trying to get into the office, stay in the office, thanks God. He's interested in helping people.
Yes. Absolutely.
So that's really, I think it's deep, don't you think? So really, it gave a new view to speaking.
Good.
I bring the responsibility of your message, the responsibility toward the people you're addressing, and helping them improve or live a better life.
Yes. And I think that's at least a piece of the goal for most people. Certainly everyone I've worked with will have a discussion at some point about the nuts and bolts of their speech. What is it that they're trying to convey? What are they trying to get the people to think, do, act upon? what is their audience point of view? What is the audience going to think of this? Are you trying to change their mind? Are you trying to motivate them? Are you giving them the next step? Do you have that call to action, whatever that action should be? Why are you giving this? Even if it's a briefing, so it's purely informational, bringing them up to date, you still want to leave them with something to look ahead.
Sure.
We'll get back to you in 6 weeks. We're expecting these changes. You want it to be more than simply flat. Here it is. You could have read it in a book. There's a reason that the person is involved. And when a person is involved to do this, you need to think about it. Why are we doing this? And what's the goal for the speaker? What's the goal for the audience? Why does the audience want to sit there and listen to you? They have something they're hoping to get. Make sure you deliver it.
Gotcha. Well, I would say very well said. Again, I want to thank you, Peggy, for coming to our show.
Thank you. It has been my pleasure.
Thank you very
so
much.
much,
And to the audience, I would like to say thank you very much for watching. This is the new year, so we wish you a happy new year. And looking forward to seeing you. In the meantime, have a very productive day. Thank you very much.